On a humid July afternoon in 1981, a simple trip to a department store in Hollywood, Florida, transformed into a nightmare that would forever change the landscape of American child safety. 6-year-old Adam Walsh stood near a video game kiosk in Sears, his eyes fixed on the screen, while his mother stepped away for just a few moments to browse lamps. In that brief window of time, the boy vanished without a trace, leaving behind only a pair of empty sandals and a silence that would soon be filled by the desperate cries of a nation. It was the beginning of a case that would expose the terrifying vulnerabilities of suburban life and ignite a father's lifelong crusade for justice. Before we dive deeper into this tragic story, please take a moment to comment, like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes of the Calendar of Crime. Your support helps us bring these important stories to light and keeps the memory of victims like Adam alive. July 27, 1981, began as an ordinary Monday for the Walsh family. Reve Walsh and her son Adam headed to the Hollywood Mall to run a few errands. Inside the Sears store, Adam was drawn to a display where several older boys were playing video games. Thinking he was safe in the company of others and just a short distance away, Reve left him there to look at lamps in a nearby department. When she returned less than 10 minutes later, the boys were gone and Adam was nowhere to be found. The initial confusion quickly spiraled into panic as store security was notified and a search of the mall began. What Reve didn't know at the time was that a security guard had instructed the group of boys playing the games to leave the store. While the older boys complied and left through one exit, Adam, likely confused and intimidated, was ushered out of a different door. It was there, in the parking lot of the Hollywood Mall, that he was most likely snatched. The police were called, but the response was hampered by the protocols of the era. At the time, law enforcement often required a waiting period before a child was officially considered sitting, a delay that we now know can be fatal in abduction cases. The search for Adam Walsh became one of the most publicized missing person cases in Florida history. John and Reve Walsh were relentless, appearing on television and blanketing the area with flyers. They faced a wall of bureaucratic indifference and a lack of centralized coordination between police departments. There was no national database for missing children, no Amber Alert system, and no easy way for one jurisdiction to know what was happening in the next. The Walshes realized that they weren't just fighting for their son. They were fighting a broken system that treated missing children as a low priority. 2 weeks of agonizing uncertainty came to a gruesome end on August 10, 1981. 2 fishermen in a drainage canal in Vero Beach, more than 120 miles north of Hollywood, discovered a severed human head. Forensic dental records confirmed the worst. It was Adam. The rest of his body was never recovered, a fact that added a layer of horrific finality to the family's grief. The discovery shifted the investigation from a missing person search to a homicide inquiry. But the trail had already grown cold, and the physical evidence was scarce. The investigation into Adam's murder would span decades, marked by missed opportunities and forensic blunders. One of the primary suspects was Ottis Toole, a drifter and serial killer who confessed to the crime in 1983. Toole provided details about the abduction and the murder that seemed to align with the facts, including the location where he claimed to have disposed of the body. However, Toole was a pathological liar who frequently confessed to crimes he didn't commit. Often in tandem with his partner in crime, Henry Lee Lucas, his confessions were inconsistent, and he eventually recanted them. Compounding the frustration was the loss of key evidence by the Hollywood Police Department. A blood-stained carpet from Toole's 1971 Cadillac, which he claimed was used to transport Adam, was lost before it could be properly tested for DNA. In an era before advanced forensic technology, this piece of evidence could have been the smoking gun. Instead, it became a symbol of the investigative failures that plagued the case. Other leads were pursued, including the possibility that serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer, who was living in the area at the time, might have been involved, but no concrete link was ever established. Despite the lack of a conviction, John Walsh refused to let his son's death be in vain. He channeled his grief into a powerful movement for change. In 1984, He helped found the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, providing a centralized resource for families and law enforcement. His advocacy led to the passage of the Missing Children's Assistance Act and the eventual creation of the Code Adam program in retail stores. Most notably, John Walsh became the host of America's Most Wanted, a show that would go on to help capture over 1,000 fugitives and recover dozens of missing children. The case remained officially open until December 16, 2008. Hollywood Police Chief Chadwick Wagner announced that the investigation was finally closed, naming Ottis Toole as the definitive killer. Although Toole had died in prison in 1996, new reviews of the case files and interviews with witnesses led investigators to conclude that his original confessions were credible. For the Walsh family, it was a long overdue acknowledgement of the truth, though it could never bring Adam back. The closure of the case marked the end of a 27-year legal journey, but the legacy of the little boy in the baseball cap continues to protect children across the world. Adam Walsh's story is a tragedy of unspeakable proportions, but it is also a story of resilience and transformation. The Adam Walsh Child Protection and Safety Act, signed into law in 2006, stands as a testament to the impact one family can have when they refuse to be silenced. Today, when we see an Amber Alert or a missing child poster, we are seeing the direct result of the movement born from Adam's disappearance. His name is no longer just a symbol of loss, but a beacon of hope and a reminder that the fight for the safety of our children is never over. Thanks for watching. Please comment, share, like, and subscribe for future episodes from the Calendar of Crime.